Hello and welcome to another episode of Maker Melissa's Lab. In this episode I'm going to be doing something a little different. I have this electric guitar that came from a storage unit, and because it was kept in the storage unit it got a little rusty, including the strings and the pickups and some of the other metal parts on it. So we're going to go ahead and replace some of these parts to get it looking in as good a condition. It has this little dent here, but that's a minor blemish and I'm not going to worry about that. So what we're going to do is replace the pickups on here, the knobs, the jack on the front of it, the bridge saddles, and we're going to put some new strings on it here, which I just picked up some Ernie ball ones. These are pretty good. I'm also going to go ahead and roll this fretboard just a little bit here. It's not terrible, but it could be a little bit better. We're going to also replace some of these screws on here with some newer looking ones just so it shines. Now I got some of these parts off of Amazon and some of them I got from Sweetwater, and the last package just came today and I was just really excited to do this, so I thought I would go ahead and make a video. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to work on here is rolling the fretboard. Now keep in mind, I haven't done much work on electric guitars. I'm actually pretty amateur in terms of this, and I thought I'd try it anyways on video, because, you know, what could go wrong, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is unbolt the fretboard on here so I don't end up scratching the finish on this and making it any worse. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. So rolling the fretboard is just about giving it kind of a slight bevel and maybe getting some of the sides of the frets off of here, and so that it's a little bit more comfortable to hold and slide your hand up and down like that. So I'm just going to give it just the smallest amount of rolling, and what I have here is some extra fine sanding blocks from 3M, and I'm going to go ahead and just run it up and down the side. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. What I've been trying to do is go for a pretty consistent bevel along the whole edge here and this side, maybe favoring the bottom side just a little bit more because it's going to be played like this, and it actually feels very comfortable to move my hand up and down here now, and I'm going to call that good. Next I'm going to go ahead and reattach this to the guitar body so then we can go ahead and get started on replacing the pickups here. Okay, I've gone ahead and reattached the headstock, and I've taken out the screws so that we can take out the pickups here. And what I have here is I've taken the multimeter and put it on the 20K ohm setting, and then I went ahead and attached this, and I am reading 7.68K ohms. And so that means this is the neck pickup, which is the one that's up here. And I've gone ahead and measured this one already, and it came out to about 14.75 kilo ohms. And that's going to go here. The reason that you have different resistances is because the strings are going to vibrate a little differently in the middle of the guitar as opposed to near the bridge here. where it's going to vibrate a little less, so it needs a little bit more powerful of a pickup. The other pickup I have here is a single coil pickup, and that's just going to go here, and it only mounts in there one way. So, oh, there's a nice cover here. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that off. Maybe I'll wait till it's all installed so that I don't scratch it up. Okay, I've gone ahead and removed the cover here where all the pickups wire in, and we have our red, which is our single coil pickup, or is that right? No. We have our bridge pickup, which is in red. We have our single coil pickup in blue, and the neck pickup in yellow here. And these wires actually only have 2 on them, but these ones are fortunately already wired, and it's a 5-wire wiring. And what you have is you have a black one, which is called the hot. You have this green and silver one, which are together, and that is your ground. And then you have these red and white ones, and these just kind of sit on their own. So what I'll go ahead and do is get some electrical tape and just tape them off. So then that leaves me with basically 2 wires to replace on here, which is pretty nice. This makes me so nervous trying to do this on camera. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take out this switch here so that I can have an easier time wiring it up. And this is a 5-position switch, but it actually only has 3 connections on here, and then it kind of sits in the middle on 2 of them so that it'll connect 2 pickups at the same time. So the strategy I'm going to start by doing is desoldering all 3 of these. Now I'm going to take a picture of which one goes to which connection on here, and then I'm going to start with the neck pickup, then the single coil, and then the bridge pickup, because they kind of all wire in through the same channels there, and that way I don't have to worry about taking them out again once they're installed. Okay, I've gone ahead and desoldered these wires here, and then I just kind of cut the little ground wires apart so they're now all separate. I have these color-coded electrical tapes here, and I'm going to use them to represent the different colored wires that were going through here before. And I've had these for so long I don't even remember where I got them. But we do know the top one was yellow, the middle one was blue, and the bottom one was red. So the wires are a little bit too fat to fit through this hole. So what I'm going to try and do is drill a little bit wider hole. It's not very deep, which is nice, but there's already another wire going through this hole. So I'm going to have to temporarily take that out. So it looks like we currently have a 6mm hole, and I'm going to try increasing that to 8mm here. Let's put a little cloth here so I don't damage the guitar. that looks nice. Okay, looks like the 8mm hole was just right. So, going to resolder this ground wire here. Now the purpose of this ground wire is so you don't like touch one metal thing and another thing and create a little bit of a loop or act as a capacitor, which will change the sound. So it just kind of connects everything all together. I attached this one on here first so I wouldn't kind of lose track and get these swapped. They're probably the same, but didn't want to chance it. So I ended up putting on the original screws with the single coil pickup because they were a lot skinnier than the ones that came with it and taller, and it just fit better on here. Okay, so I actually just got back from eating dinner and I am now ready to wire this up. I went ahead and I moved the tape down here so it's not interfering. I taped up the white and red wires and I am ready to go ahead and solder. I was thinking about shortening this originally, but I don't think it's worth the extra effort of that, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue by attaching all the ground wires together, and that would best be done with a little piece of tape to start with. You know, I'm actually not sure if the ground wire is the white or the black one. Okay, I just looked it up and it is actually the black one, which is what I kind of assumed. But being that the hot wires on here are also black, that's not a great assumption. Okay, next I'm going to replace this jack here. And the reason I decided to replace the jack is when I was initially testing it, I was having a lot of sound issues, and when I cleaned a lot of dust out of here, it actually was playing better, but it could always be improved. Okay, so here's what's happening. So this new jack is just slightly wider than the old one, and then the way that the old one was sitting is it had a nut on one side and a nut on the other side, so that it was kind of flush up with this little part here. But this new jack only came with one nut, and the old nut does not fit onto this jack. I've looked through all my different parts and I could not find an equivalent, so my options are to either leave it sticking out like this, or maybe find some washers to use as a spacer, or possibly design and 3D print a part. But being that it's so close, I'm thinking I might be okay with it just sticking out a little bit actually, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with that. I really hope this fits. Okay, that looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and test out the wiring job here. Okay, that looks good. You can hear how the tone changes as I turn the tone knob. The only thing that concerns me is that it sounds like there's a grounding issue when I touch this. Move some of these wires out of the way. And let's go ahead and attach this little back plate on here. Using some of the new screws. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I have these little saddle nuts here, and I've already gone and measured these, and the ones that I got here are actually about 11 millimeters wide, and the ones that are on the guitar here are actually only 10.5 millimeters, giving a total width of about 63 millimeters. And I've gone ahead and taken one of these and filed it down just so I could know in my head that it was possible to do it and still have it look good. And so next I'm going to go ahead and file the other 5 of these off camera, and that's going to take probably like an hour, so I'll be back when I'm done with that. Okay, I've gone ahead and finished filing these, and I did use a Dremel tool for a little assistance, so it only took like about a half hour instead of an hour. And now I'm ready to go ahead and replace these here. But first, let's go ahead and peel these up. And that looks really good. Now, one thing I decided to do is go ahead and reuse the original springs, since the ones that came with it are a little shorter. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. Let's take the volume and tone knobs off. And these ones are Fender volume and tone knobs, which looked like they were about the same, so hopefully they fit. Actually, while I have it off, I'm gonna kind of polish around here. There we go. And now it's time to put some strings on here. Let's start with the biggest one. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to do before I put the strings on, and I just remembered, so I don't know. I'm gonna try it with the string on. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and polish the fingerboard while I'm at it. I discovered off camera that the guitar was creating a loud, kind of a buzzing, humming sound because I had ended up wiring up this jack backwards. I ended up swapping around the wires and it was much better after that. It took a little bit of kind of tearing into each of the cavities, but you can see it's playing. There's still a little more adjustment that I need to do, such as setting the intonation, setting the action on the strings. I set the pickup height already and I'm pretty happy with that. The strings still need to be tuned. I'm not really that great at guitar, and the reason I wanted to build this is because I wanted to learn. Okay, so it's been about a week and a half since the last segment that I recorded, and one of the reasons I waited so long is because I had ordered this little amp here, and I was kind of waiting to make sure I didn't ruin the guitar. I mean, I would have had it captured on camera at least if I did, but it ended up good, so I went ahead and ordered that, and it has now come, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you the guitar. In the meantime, I've been practicing it so I can play it a little bit better than I was even able to like about a week and a half ago. So just so as you can see, it actually sounds really good. So in order to get it set up, what I had to first do is adjust the truss rod in here by taking off the little cover on the end of here and adjusting it so it was pretty flat. I have a little bit of an up bow in it, and that's just to prevent any bit of fret buzz if I'm playing it a little harder. And after I did that, I went ahead and I adjusted the action on the strings by adjusting the saddle height on here. On a few of these outside saddles where I had to kind of scoot them forward, I ended up removing them and using my Dremel tool to kind of shave off the edge because they were hitting this little screw here. So it needed some adjustment. These three in the middle here towards the lower E string were just fine. I didn't need to do anything with those, so I just left those alone. And after I had that adjusted the right height, then I adjusted the intonation by just adjusting these screws on the bottom and just making sure that the open note and the fretted 12th note were still not sharp or flat and were both on pitch. And once I did that, I had the guitar set up here. I needed to do a little string stretching in order to make it so that the new strings were not kind of going flat as I used them, and even just playing it now, they are not going flat anymore, and I'm really happy with this guitar setup. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and hit like if you like the video, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about me doing some different kinds of content like this. I'll see you in my next video.